My granddaughter was so happy to be back in school today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, she's so happy.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Everybody I talked to is happy too.
Mhm.
Nice to see kids happy to be back at school again.
Yeah.
All righty, folks. It's 7 p.m. on August 8th. We're going to go ahead and open up for business here and call this public session to order. Trustee Benton, can you do roll call for us again, please?
Surely. Ms. Benton, I'm here. Mr. Martinez,
Here.
Ms. Moran,
Present.
Ms. Smith,
Here,
Mr. Pereira.
he's muted,
He's frozen.
frozen.
And Mr. Munoz.
You're just muted.
I'm here. Sorry.
There you are. We see you. And Mr. Munoz. Okay.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open up our regular meeting. Let's go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And after we stand, I'm going to ask everybody if they could continue standing for a moment of silence. We're going to acknowledge some of our employees that have passed away recently. So thank you. Let's go ahead and stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
Of
of the United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and everybody just can continue standing. And Morgan, I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge some individuals that have passed on. They were employees of the district. And the first one is Anne Margain. She passed away on September 10th, 2020. She grew up in Los Banos. She taught at Miano Elementary from 1999 to 2011. She returned and subbed from 2012 to 2014. She was beloved by many of her past students. The next person we want to acknowledge is James Clark. He taught for Los Banos Unified School District for 47 years. He passed away on March 16, 2021. He began teaching in 1970. He taught special education, math, and primarily art. He spent most of his years at Los Banos Junior High. He also coached high school football for 25 years as well as other sports, including swimming and basketball at Los Banos Junior High and Los Banos High School. He retired in 2017 as an art teacher. His particular interest was ceramics, and his students won many awards. In 2007, he applied his interest in ceramics to a community project called Empty Bowls. This has since become an annual community fundraising event in Los Banos to help feed people in need. The next person is Edward Spencer. He was a health assistant at Mercy Springs Elementary. He passed away on March 20th. He started with Los Banos Unified School District at Miano Elementary in 2014 and has spent the last 5 years at Mercy Springs Elementary. He had great relationships with everyone at his school site, especially the students. He was known by the nickname of Spence. He was always willing to lend a hand and had a great attitude and had a knack for dealing with students when it came to the most difficult trauma. He will be missed by his colleagues and students. So, just the loss of life to me is very precious, priceless, and especially so when, they were employees of our district. So let's go ahead and have a moment of silence in their behalf and honor them. Alrighty. Well, thank you, everybody. Be seated. We're going to move on to item 4, the approval of the agenda. Doc Marshall, is there any changes?
No changes.
Okay. I'm gonna need a motion and a second to approve our agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Okay,
I will second that.
okay, thank you. I have a motion by trustee Benton and a second by trustee Smith to approve the agenda as stated. Roll call vote, Tina?
Ms. Benton,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes,
and Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the agenda has been approved. On to item 5, public hearing. Public presentations. Members of the public may request an item to be placed on the agenda of a regular meeting by submitting a request in writing with all supporting documents, if any, to the superintendent at least 2 weeks before the scheduled meeting date. Under general public comment, individuals wishing to address the board on items not on the agenda may do so by submitting comments via email to LBUSD board@losbanosusd.net prior to 3 p.m. on April 8th. Comments are limited to 450 words, which approximately equals 3 minutes speaking time. All public comments received by April 8, 2020 prior to 3 p.m. will be disseminated to all trustees prior to the meeting so each trustee can read them prior to the meeting. Comments will not be read during the meeting. Comments submitted prior to the deadline will be available for public viewing on the LBUSD district website. Public comments on agenda items in a public hearing, members of the community may address specific items on the agenda or public hearings by submitting comments via email to LBUSD board@losbanosusd.net prior to 3 p.m. on April 8th. Comments are limited to 450 words, which approximately equals 3 minutes speaking time. All public comments received by April 8th prior to 3 p.m. will be disseminated to all trustees prior to the meeting, so each trustee can read them prior to the meeting. Comments will not be read during the meeting. Comments submitted prior to the deadline will be available again for public viewing on the Los Banos Unified School District website, losbanosusd.org. We had received no public meetings as of 3 p.m. So with that, we're going to move on to item 6, reports. There was item 5A, the CS School Employees Association report. There was none. Item B, the Los Banos Teachers Association report. We have a report here that I will read. Again, this is from Illa Nelson.
It was sent on behalf of Isla Nelson. It's actually from Jennifer.
On behalf of Jennifer. I'm sending this for Jennifer. Can you please help me? Okay. Good evening, board members. March and April have been eventful months for our members in our community. Many students have returned to our campuses for hybrid instruction, and teachers are adjusting and working harder than ever. We are preparing lessons for the students in front of us and those who are still virtual, doing our very best to meet a wide variety of needs and demands. While this may not be an ideal situation for our staff and students, it is a way to keep everyone safe. For the last few years, you have heard me talking about wanting LBUSD to be a lighthouse district, about how we need to be leaders and the district others look up to. As districts around the county and state rush to fully reopen, our district has decided to take it slow. With Merced County remaining as one of the last 2 counties in the purple tier, I believe we have made the right decision. COVID has not disappeared with the vaccine. While many of our teachers have had the opportunity to get vaccinated, it still has not been made available for our students. With the new variants that affect children in higher numbers, returning fully now may not still be safe. The COVID safety plan and memorandum of understanding regarding hybrid instruction have put many things in place to help ensure the safety of our staff, students, and larger Los Banos community. Frequent hand washing, mask wearing, 6-foot social distancing, the creation of cohorts and smaller classes have done a lot to prevent the spread of COVID in our schools. We're extremely grateful to all district staff and representatives for the tremendous work everyone is doing to make the best of this hybrid schedule for our kids. I want to thank Ela on behalf of Jennifer Worken for submitting this. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Marshall.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking our entire Los Banos school community for another smooth return to in-person learning. This week, we welcome back our secondary students at their respective sites. And from what my observations, the kids were excited to be back in school. And that sentiment is shared by our teachers and community members and people that I've had a chance to talk to. I especially want to thank our labor partners for working with us to make this happen. When you work together, you can achieve many things. And there are still many districts in the nation that is trying to figure this thing out. And we were able to work through it. And I'm very proud of that. I think that we brought students back safely. And I think we're going to pay the benefit for taking the pace that we did. Another group I want to acknowledge is our student athletes, our coaches, the coaching staffs, because this has not been an easy process as far as different rules. The rules change frequently, but they all rose to the occasion. And so on a related note, I'm going to be posting some information on my blog tomorrow that gives parents more information about in-person learning, about our seniors and stuff like that. So please check that out. Now I want to shift the conversation to facilities. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see, you all see my screen? Okay, perfect. All right, we've been, I think it's very important that we update the community in terms of the progress we've been making as far as our facilities. We've invested over the last few years. There's been a lot of investment in our facilities. And I want to kind of just take some time tonight to kind of highlight some of the things that have been done at some of the sites. So as you can look at, at Henry Miller, they have a brand new fire alarm system. Los Banos Elementary, a new fire alarm system. At Volta, we have new portables. We're getting a water tank, additional restrooms been added, and then our parking lot's been renovated. LFE, a brand new shade structure. It's beautiful. Please check it out. Mercy Springs, they have a fire security system in progress, and there were some parking lot improvements. At West Side, there's a new roof, and they also received a fire alarm system. The TK Center, that whole building was renovated totally. That was the old charter school that was turned into, it's very nice. Los Banos High School, they get a new restroom. They've done some work at the student parking lot. Pacheco High School, they have additional classrooms. There's fencing around the campus, and they have an ag farm. And at San Luis High School, new classrooms and restrooms. So I think it's important for our stakeholders to see that we do invest, and it's one thing to have our campuses to be safe and to be up to par. So we've done some things to make that happen. So I just wanted to just share that tonight. And we're getting ready to take that to the next level. And I want to just kind of share what we've done previously as we move forward. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall. Next, we have a facilities report.
Well, I have two things to report. The first one is the B Street traffic light. The physical installation of the traffic light has been completed. Now we're working on the electrical part and underground wiring. So those are things that's just started. That's the next new phase. And the second is that we'll be initiating the Lofton Stadium building project. So we'll talk to the architect and kind of see how we can have a design. And that's the phase we're going to start immediately. So those are two reports I have.
What about Pacheco?
Thank you.
Wayne Pacheco.
Well, but and that Pacheco is going to come up right now. We will do the bidding you're going to approve the bidding process, approve of the contract. So that's going to come up right now.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Next, member reports. We'll go ahead and start with Trustee Benton.
Thank you, Ray. Well, school's back and running, and I know I say this every month, but our staff is just the best we could ever have in any school district. And I appreciate you all just pulling together and going ahead and saying, yep, we're going to make this great for the students. I've seen great things on Facebook. I've had great emails from parents saying, hooray, my kids are back in school, and teachers as well. They're happy to have everybody back. So thank you, everyone. And you know what? Let's make it great the rest of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Benton. Next, Trustee Moran.
Thank you, Ray. I will go off of Trustee Benton's note in that I was able to speak at a parent institute. So it was about me and who I am as a person. And so by default, obviously, my role on the school board came up. So I got a lot of great feedback from Spanish-speaking parents as to how excited they were that their kids were back in school. They were looking forward to that. And it was really nice to hear that interaction. I also had the opportunity to work on a texting campaign for our local folks in terms of vaccinations, making myself available if there was any questions. Of course, I'm not the expert in the field, but I can definitely answer and route questions. So really good feedback from those in my area, also in Spanish speaking as well. So was able to make a few more connections, and great kudos was sent out. So I wanted to extend that to our teachers, administration. They wanted me to make sure that you all knew that they were very appreciative of the information that has been shared, and that the information was well received by our Spanish speaking population as well. So kudos to everyone, teachers, administrative, our classified professionals, of course. So definitely wanted to make sure I went on record with that. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Moran. Trustee Smith.
Okay, thank you, Ray. I would just like to say that I have also been out in the community advocating for COVID vaccines to be given, making appointments for community members, sign them up, giving injections. I'm still advocating. I'm hoping that the majority of the city gets vaccinated. The governor's going to open California up in June, and I am so excited to come out of isolation. This is probably going to be one of the best days of all of our lives. We're just so looking forward to that. During this time, I was able to do a virtual challenge day with some students here in our district, and it was very enjoyable. The students came on camera, they were live, they were active, they were inactive, they were interactive with me. They asked me a lot of questions. They recognized me from being on the board. I think I'm kind of hard to not recognize on the board, but I had a lot of questions about that. And many of the questions were, when do we go back to school? So I think today or this week has been a great day for school students throughout the district. And that's it. Just keep moving forward. It'll be over soon.
Yes. Thank you, Trustee Smith.
Thank you.
Trustee Pereira.
I too want to thank and appreciate all of the staff, teachers, administrators, all of our classified employees for getting us through this long, crazy past year, and hopefully a smooth sailing to the end of the year. Everybody's gone above and beyond and have made this work, and you are truly appreciated. This is uncharted territory for everybody, and we made it work, and we have kids coming back now. Kids are happy, parents are happy, and I'm just hoping that I can't see the future very well, but I just hope that when we arrive in August that we may be back to semi-normal. I don't think we'll ever be back to normal, but at least I'm hoping that we can get everybody back in school 5 days a week. I don't know what's going to happen. Like I said, I have no crystal ball. It'd be great if that happens. But there's a lot of lot of things happening between now and then, but if that could possibly happen, that would be really, really wonderful. And I know that everybody's looking forward to that. So I hopefully we can get some semblance of normalcy coming the next school year. We're getting close this year, but we're not going to be anywhere near where we were before this whole pandemic started. But thank you all for making this work. Really appreciate it. And of course, also thanks to the parents who have been, sitting by their child's side, helping them get online and helping them to get through their day and make sure they're staying on task. We really appreciate the parents, and of course, also the students for making it work. A lot of them worked really hard and have overcome a lot of obstacles with distance learning. So congratulations to the students for making it work also. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pereira. I guess I'm up next. On top of, just to piggyback on what everybody has already said, not to be redundant, but it is really, really amazing. We've all come through very, very challenging, unprecedented times, and I do truly want to thank everybody. It's really taken a team effort. We've all been squeezed through this whole thing. We're not out of the woods yet by any means, but we are turning the corner. And I'll tell you, it is so exciting when I'm either going by a park or a school, and just to hear the chatter of the kids bringing life, back into the atmosphere is just, it's very uplifting. And so I'm really happy for that. And, the kids are happy. I know the teachers are. And again, a big thank you to everybody for hanging in there and pushing through. Aside from that, I just been busy personal study, sharpening my sword. I also got opportunity to be part of Challenge Day over at Creekside Junior High School. And that was my first time, and it was very, very amazing. I was really impressed. And kudos to all the staff over there and everybody that facilitated that. And it was just really amazing interacting with with the students. They were able to, come out of their shells and actually open up with us, and it was priceless. And I'd like to see more of that happening, even at some of our other sites. So anyway, it was just amazing. I really enjoyed that. Aside from that, that's all I had. And we will move on to item 7, new business. And item 7A has to do with course adoptions. And I'll go ahead and give it to Dr. Ritchie.
Good evening. We have a couple of courses to bring for a new adoption this evening. The first is a course called Geology Rocks. It's a grade 7 and 8 course. It's an elective course focused on geology. It was approved by the Secondary Curriculum Council, and we are asking that the board approve this course. We also have another course that we're going to be asking for approval. Get down to that page. It's an existing course, but we had to make some, this is a new course actually that we're adding to our ag science pathway. This course is replacing a current course we have, the ROP food science course, because that course no longer exists. And so we are creating a CTE agricultural food science course that will focus on the the study of the production of food, and also learn about its origins. It's a course that will be taught at Los Mountains High School. And when students leave this course, they will have several different licenses and certificates that will be available to them through this course. So we're recommending the board approve both these courses this evening.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. On the Geology Rocks course, that is elective.
Yes.
It does not replace their science requirement?
No, it does not. This is specifically chosen as is brought forward as an elective course in order to provide students with an opportunity to engage in science outside of their science curriculum. At the junior high levels, we have, I wouldn't say a dearth, but we don't have a robust number of electives. So this is an opportunity to give kids more elective offerings at the junior high school level.
Yeah, that's cool. Because yeah, you're right. I remember the days there was pretty sparse as far as electives for our middle school kids or junior high kids. Is how many sections do you think we're going to be offering of this?
With the geology rocks, I know we have at least one right now, and there's potential for 2 sections.
And we can do this with our existing staff?
Yes.
Cool. And then on the Ag Food Science 1 class, is that a freshman or sophomore class?
This is it's the first course in the pathway, so it's not really a freshman or a sophomore. It's the first course in the CTE pathway, so it's available for students. It says grade 11, so that's going to be the beginning. But students can enter that course as part of the pathway and become completers of the 2-course pathway.
Okay, that was my other follow-up. Is that I thought the Ag Science 2 was the 11th grade.
There's multiple pathways in this career technical education. This is when we talk ag, sometimes we think it's kind of a monolithic, everything's ag, but within any of the career technical education fields, there's multiple pathways you can have. We have an ag science pathway, we have an ag mechanics pathway. This is an ag food science pathway that allows students to get licenses. We have the horticulture, so students can receive licenses in different focuses that fall under the ag career sector, but they can have multiple pathways within that ag career sector.
So is the Ag Food Science 2 class, is that already been approved?
That one will be, I believe it's, you know what? Be honest with you, this was brought at the last one. I am not certain if it's already been approved, but I will check into that.
Yeah, because it says, Ag Food Science 2, you have to have an ag, there's a prerequisite for ag pathways. And it's elective course for 11th grade students. So obviously
it'd be a senior level course. Yeah, it would be a completer course.
So is Ag Food Science 1 required before you could take Ag Food Science 2?
Yes, because as with CTE, you have to have an introductory course, and then you can have a concentrator course and then a completer course, or you can have a 2-course pathway, which is what this is, which you have an introductory course followed by a concentrator completer course.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve these 2 classes.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion by trustee Pereira and a second by trustee Benton to approve both these courses. Roll call vote, Tina?
Ms. Benton,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, course adoptions have been approved. Let's move on to item B, course revision. This is the first reading. It is recommended the board declare its intent to adopt the revised course description for Success 101. And this is yours, Dr. Ritchie.
Thank you. This course, Success 101, is a course that's been on the books and is being utilized now as a targeted Tier 2 targeted intervention for general education students. And that means that when you think about students at any school, when you think of the multi-tier systems of support, it's usually there's a view of 3 tiers. Tier 1 will be quality first instruction provided in the classroom with in the moment intervention support for students that teachers would do every day. But we know that works for about 80% of students. About 20% are going to need some additional support and help. The Success 101 course is being revised to be able to serve as that Tier 2 targeted intervention, in which students who are identified as needing additional support would be enrolled in this class. They would receive elective credit. It would be a course that they would be enrolled in and utilize in lieu of a different elective, where they would receive support through decision-making, critical thinking skills, resiliency and being able to plan and use different skills to find more academic success. We're asking that the board approve this course. This course was approved by the Secondary Curriculum Council at our March 18th meeting.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ritchie. Any questions or comments? Doctor?
I noticed that this is being taught by temporary teachers. Is there, do we know how long we're going to keep these positions temporary, or is this elective temporary for a short time, or?
It's being done. This was done in part due to findings we had from the Department of Education Office of Civil Rights, that when talking about how we use advantage courses for special education students. And there was a noted, and in the report, there's note that we had a lack of targeted tier 2 supports. This course has been revised and is being brought forward to provide support now as we're working with staff at the high schools to look at basically our total program in terms of support we provide. We anticipate using something like this using this course going forward, but whether we will need additional staff or to continue with what we have, we're gonna have to make the decision as we move forward. But this is the course. Either way, we're gonna need the course revised, but how it's gonna look in the coming years, that's something we'll be working on this next year.
And what kind of credential is required for this this course?
Single subject. And there's no, it's not department, it's not tied to social studies, science, history, etc. Is if you have a single subject credential, you can teach this course.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ritchie. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the declaration of intent to adopt this revision.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion by Trustee Benton and a second by Trustee Pereira. Roll call vote, Tina.
Ms. Benton,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez.
Been approved. Moving on to item C, which is a 2020-21 school plans for student achievement. And this is yours also, Dr. Ritchie.
Yes, we are bringing these single plans for school achievement, for student achievement for Los Banos High School and Creekside Junior High School back to the board, because when there are adjustments made to Title I funds in the CONAP, the single plans need to be adjusted to reflect those changes in funds. And so as part of our FBM review, we are bringing this back with the appropriate adjustments made to the funds available in the single plans. Both these plans have already been taken back to their site councils for approval. We're bringing it back to the board for approval so that we can continue forward with their plans. And we recommend the board approve these plans.
Okay,
Mr. Ritchie, I noticed that the funds were coming from the funds are coming from the building fund? What's the fund?
They're coming from Title I. The
Title I
single,
fund?
yeah, the single plans. You have all federal funds that you receive. You have to that are allocated to a school site. The use of those funds have to be outlined in the single plan, and they have to be approved by the school site councils made up of teachers, parents, and students of those schools, and to guarantee that federal funds are being used for the students who generate those funds. And so for both Creekside and Los Banos High School, there was an adjustment made to the Title I funds that we received as a district, which meant that the adjustment was made to the funds being allocated to the schools, which means that therefore they had to make an adjustment to their plans to demonstrate how they were going to use those funds.
Okay, so is that what the impact to the school district facilities is all about?
Yes.
Okay.
all right. Looking for a motion then to approve in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I have a motion to approve by trustee Smith and a second by trustee Benton. Roll call vote, Tina?
Miss Benton,
Yes.
Miss Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Miss Smith,
Yes.
and Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it has been approved. Thank you. On to item D, a change order with TBS contractors. Amir?
Yes, this is a change order number 3. This is an interesting one. Since there are some minuses and some plus, the district is going to get a net of credit of $9,575 from the contractor. So our contract is going down by that amount. So we're asking for approval of change order.
Okay.
So we'll get some money back.
Wow.
Any questions on that?
Was it just an overbid, Amir?
No, what happened is they did a lot of list of items. So I told the contractor if he can list what he did for us and what was extra. And we had our engineer go through it. And when they went to list item by line item, they found out that we should be getting $9,500 back. So we will kind of lower the contract amount by that amount.
Okay, great job. Any other questions for Amir?
Just Amir, from now on, all your change orders need to look like this
Yeah.
with the minus
I'll try.
in front of it.
We'd like another 0 added though.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Questions? I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve this change order number 03.
So moved.
Second, Moran.
Okay. I have a motion by Benton to approve, trustee Benton, and a second by trustee Moran to approve the this change order number 03. Roll call vote, Tina?
Miss Benton,
Yes.
Miss Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Miss Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, change order has been approved. Let's move on to item E, award recommendation. This is for Los Panos High School restroom remodel.
Okay, this is the second part of the project. The first part was the building of the restroom modular. The second part is the site work related to the installation of the modular. So it's recommended that board approve or award the contract to TBS since they are the lowest responsible bidder.
Questions for Amir?
This has been a long time coming. This project.
Yes, I think this part is going to be a little bit tricky because once we put the restroom, anyone on a wheelchair should be able to go from the admin office to the restroom. So we have to kind of fix that little pathway. So
Good. I'll make a motion to set the order, change order, additions.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Smith, seconded by trustee Pereira to approve this notice of intent to award contract to TBS regarding the restroom remodel. Roll call vote, Tina?
Miss Benton,
Yes.
Miss Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Munoz, Mr. Pereira,
Yes.
Miss Smith,
Yes.
and Mr. Martinez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that's been approved. Moving on to item F, initial bargaining proposal at Los Panos Unified. Dr. Calzadias, this is yours.
Each bargaining cycle, the district submits a proposal per the language outlined in the collective bargaining agreement. The purpose of the item is to make this proposal public and to allow for public comment. Once this sunshining procedure is complete, then the bargaining can begin. It's recommended that the board accept the initial bargaining proposal submitted by the Los Panos Unified School District. Board acceptance of the proposal will follow a public hearing.
Okay. Any questions? If there's no questions, I will open the public hearing. And I will close the public hearing. Okay, I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. I have a motion by trustee Pereira and a second by trustee Smith to approve holding public hearings, adopting a proposal. Roll call vote, Tina?
Ms. Benton? Ms. Benton?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
And Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion's been approved. Moving on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar represents routine items acted upon in one motion by roll call vote. The recommendation is for adoption unless otherwise specified. Any item can be removed for discussion upon request. Is there any items?
I'd like to pull 8A4.
8. Okay.
8E, okay.
A4 has to do with the regular board meetings. Okay, we will pull that. Is there any other pulls? Okay. So aside from 8A4, I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve the rest of the consent calendar.
I'll move that we approve
Okay.
with that exception.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of a poll, which is item 8A4, has to do with regular board meetings. I've got a motion by trustee Benton and a second by trustee Pereira to approve the consent calendar as listed with that one poll, with the exception of the one poll. Roll call vote, Tina?
Ms. Benton?
Yes.
Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item 9. Discuss.
You have to do the pull.
Oh, the poll. So that item, Anthony, you want to either address it or how you want to deal with that poll?
Yeah, there's a correction to the minutes. That's the minutes of the March 11th, 2021 board meeting. It says, Mr. Pereira called the meeting to order. I did not do that.
Sorry about that.
Good catch.
I will fix that and
Okay.
repost.
So with that correction, I make a motion that we approved the March 11th, 2021 board minutes.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a correction on item 8A4 and by trustee Pereira and a second by trustee Benton for a correction to be made. Roll call vote, Tina?
Ms. Benton?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz? Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
And Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. On to item 9, discussion information, future agenda items. I need to, I want to make one correction. There was one change that we'll be making moving forward is that we will be reading public comments at future meetings. We received no comments tonight, but we will be reading them at the meetings moving forward. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. So that was a correction I needed to make earlier when I opened up. Moving on to item 10, reporting closed session action. Okay, we had 3 items that we discussed in closed session. One of the items Two of the items were action items that were approved. They were regarding leave extensions, and they were approved by the board. The third one was labor negotiations, and it was a no action item. So moving on to item 11, closed session. It's not going to be necessary.
Ray, you need to read the action taken, what the action was, whether it was approved. Yes, it was. And you also need to read the vote.
Okay. Yeah, there was two action items, and they were again approved by the board. There were 5 yes votes and no votes.
You have to read, just like Tina does in roll call. You have to do the same thing for these. You have to list the names of who was there, who was absent, and how everybody voted. So you have to do it individually for each person.
Okay. The yes votes on those 2 items that we took action on regarding extension leave, Trustee Benton, Trustee Martinez, Trustee Moran, Trustee Pereira, and Trustee Smith all voted yes on both those action items. Gary Munoz is absent. So
Just trying to make sure that we do it correctly and not get in trouble for not reporting out correctly. So thank you.
okay, thank you, Anthony. Anybody have any questions on anything? Anything else? Okay, with that, we're looking to adjourn this meeting, and if there's no further questions or comments, this meeting has been adjourned at 7:47. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.